another video for you guys today. So this one's going to be on gear talk, right? So this might really question everything you do, contemplate what you think the best move is. I'm going to go into what I feel is the best way for you guys to go. There's tons of different ways, tons of different people are going to tell you different things. I'll explain everything to you and you tell me for your reason. So the first thing I'd say that I would look into, which I think is by far one of the best. So when we're pushing red gear, regardless what it is, by far I think radar is superior over everything else. This is what one of the most common things is. And people may ask why or say, hey, I don't know what gear to push. Here's what I'll explain to you. So if we go in here, you can see the percentages you get as you go on. So we can see here, 10% energy resistance as you go up. Then you have hero defense, energy resistance 10%. This is what it's huge. So when you have your radar to red gear, you get a 30% reduction damage for crucial hits. So for example, if you're taking in crucial hits of 2 million, deduct 30% of that, and that's what's happening. Now, in comparison to your armor, when you have it to red gear, reduces the chance of taking a crucial hit. Does not necessarily mean it's going to limit it. It will reduce it. Doesn't mean that it's going to give you that actual percentage. You don't know what it's going to be, right? So that's why the most common thing you're going to see is going to be your radar. And the reason being is because, like I said, the benefits over the armor are so much better. With that being said, the first thing I would push, if I was to push anything red, would be my radar for my front heroes. Whether it's air, missile, this percentage does not change, right? Then I would push for my front heroes is my armor, because match with that percentage is a lot better than just the armor and radar. Same thing with here. The next thing we're going to talk about is right here. So as you can see, when you have this to red gear, your chip, it reduces damage taken on counter against enemies by 5%. And that means counter, we'll click on that and show you. When countering items, the stronger sides take the less damage. With calculations done separately, the unit counters are follows. Tank counters missile, missile vehicles counter aircraft, aircraft counters tank. Base damage reduction starts at 20%. So just to give you an idea what they're talking about. So we've gone through this in previous videos. We know that tank beats missile, missile beats air, and air beats tank, right? So we already know that. So this is always going to help you and apply to that counter. So if I'm air and I'm going against tank, I already have a damage reduction 20% against tank. This will give me an additional 5 at red gear, right? This is where that additional percentage would come in. Now, if we go into our gun and see, we can see the damage boost counter against an enemy is 10%. We can see that also applies. So as you can see, the counter here is a lot better than our chip. With that being said, I wouldn't necessarily say that you have to get initially. You can see the crucial rate and what I get just for 4 stars. What I would most likely recommend to do is, if I was to get red gear, let's say I had a whole set to go, my first thing I would do is put a radar on one of my frontline heroes. Next thing I would do is to work for another radar for them. Once I had that complete, or I had it close, or let's say I ran out of my red prints, I would come over here, I'd get my whatever hero it is, whatever class, 4 stars on their gun. I'd go to my next hero. So Morrison, I'd get another 3 stars on him to 4. Then I would come over here to Skylar, get 4, and I'd come back and work my radar. Whether it's red print, if I don't have enough, I'd get this size I could. Once I have enough red print, I'd make that red. Once I have enough here, make that red. Then I work on my armor there. And then I would just work my way back. Same thing. I would leave my chip last. So in order, what I would do is my first priority would be my red gear for my radar. Next would be armor, matching them with that. My offensive gear would be the gun. The last thing I would get done is the chip. And I would focus on my one class, making them super strong. And then I'd work to my next one. as you can see, I'm not going crazy with my class. So we can see my first march. This is my second one, my fourth, because obviously cheaper. I haven't gone crazy. I upgraded some heroes. That's about it. I have some decently done. I also use Murphy a lot, and I plan on using him and mix him in with different lineups. So that's why I have them and Kim as well. So I'm mixing and matching based off that. So, like I said, if you've been pushing your gear, this is the video for you. This is what I suggest. Like I said, you can clearly see at all the things to get red, this gives you the best bang for your buck. And this is a set, so it doesn't matter if I take this off, put it on someone else, you're getting 30% taken off the crucial hits, guaranteed. Where this is, oh, maybe today or tomorrow, we don't really know. It's reducing the chance of taking crucial hits, but you don't know how many hits you're taking, right? So it could be 3 million, it's 15%. Now, I like those odds better with 15 of that and 30 of this combined collectively than just one. So again, that's why I wanted to bring this, because there's a lot of misinterpretation, what to do, where do I go, how do I build my gear. That's the first thing I would say. Get your radar handled for your defense, work on your offense with the other, at least 4, and then once you have excess, start working there, or even chip down. But what I say is finish out a squad first, unless you're spending, which we already talked about, you're a large spender and you're spending thousands a week or a month, and you can afford to do that. The other thing I'll go into too is the battle plan. So like I said, just because someone's more powerful than you doesn't necessarily mean that they're going to beat you, right? Obviously the 3 versus 3 is a good interpretation to see. I mean, some people might be pushing another class. We can see here I got beat here pretty bad by Smash. But we can go in here and we can take a look at this why. So I'm not too concerned with the average. It's most likely going to be the heroes. We'll come in here and look. So it doesn't look like he's pushing air. My guess would be he's pushing tank, but we'll go in and look here. And it doesn't appear that he has much on his tank either, so maybe it's missile. So we'll go in there, we'll give him the benefit of the doubt. And we can see he didn't really push much on that either. So he's not really pushing his gear that much. My guess would be, let's see what he's at for heroes. Let's come down here. So we can see here, there's a few things that I would push on his, but this is just obviously not more for him. For me to look, but it looks like he has a decently average drone as well as gear, and we can see here his tech is relatively similar to what I have. Certain areas have a little bit more. Honestly, it looks like, again, his gear isn't crazy as far as what I see. It looks like he's pushing his airs the most, is what he's pushing. But again, he has everything to 40. He has some of the red dots, but if I was in his position, what I would do, my first thing I would do is, as soon as I have enough ore or anything else, I'd be pushing my Carly and Luca. If this is my main march, their radar as hard as I could until I ran out of blueprints. Whether it's regular or I got eventually to red, then I would start to do is work my guns on my 3 back heroes. I wouldn't really focus on their guns yet, because it's not really a 40 gun on Carly is not really benefiting me, where if I can take that 40 that I put on Carly and leave it where it is and get one of their other guns to a higher level on their radar, on their guns, is going to benefit me more than her, because she's a defensive hero. So I'm not really too concerned with that. But like I said, then you go against someone, and this is a prime example, and there's nothing against this person, they're in a very strong alliance with Super Whales. So sometimes you'll have players in here that appear to be extremely strong, which they are. Again, we come to here, you see I lost this one, but we'll show you the ones that I did win. And we can see here that, this isn't my strongest squad, but we can see where the difference is made, right? So you can see I have some crucial hits here. Probably go to the statistics and see. You can see how much more damage I did there, which is 10.3, and how much my front line held. But that's not really where it comes into play. It's more, like I said, everything collectively. We can see the percentages are relatively around the same. He has a little bit more in certain areas. As far as drone, his drone is higher. But again, we come down here, and you can also see the difference in his HP as well as defense is a lot higher, but nothing crazy. Then we come down here, you can see the difference where plays a huge impact. And like I talk about all the time, the unit morale here. Again, my weakness was missile, which I focused on, and you can see the areas I'm improving. And then we come down here. But again, the other things that come in play, like we talk about all the time, is my drone, which is huge. So we come in here and we see that. Actually, we don't even see the drone. Besides that one, we don't even see the chips, which would still play a factor in it. But we can kind of see the areas that really worked. A lot of it, I think, too, comes down to your hero. Right here's the advantage there. Where there is also pushing this class is all tank. So, I mean, all missile, as we know. Tank has a slight edge on missile because you get those 20% reductions as well as causing. So that's a huge perk there. And then we come in this one and we can see this. So, as we can see, I don't have a full air squad. But even without it, you can see the difference as far as the power. So he's obviously lacking some of his hero gear. You can see here the chips plays a huge factor in this, as well as some other stuff. So that's why I said a lot of people get hung up on this actual power of what all their heroes are collectively. Again, what I would focus on is what does my strongest squad look like with everything intact, my hero gear. Am I gonna look weaker than some people? Yes. Do I think that the chips help tremendously? Absolutely, depending on what you push. And I also think that they do a disservice because you don't get as much as you normally would. But I just want to bring all this to you guys, so I hope this video helps. Again, this probably changed a lot of people's views of what they think and where they should push. But again, I'll see you guys out there. As always, if you want to donate or help grow this channel, reach out to me on Twitch, Discord, or in the game. All the videos will be uploaded at the end of the week till YouTube. If you have any questions, just reach out. All right, guys, see you in the game. Later.